What is up everyone, welcome back to Mainly Movies, the channel where we talk about, well, mainly movies. So welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the classic Steven Spielberg film, Raiders of the Lost Ark. After finding out about the Ark of the Covenant, Indiana Jones goes on an adventure to find the Ark before the Nazis can get their hands on it. So welcome back to another video, guys. I just want to say I greatly appreciate the support that I've been getting recently on the channel. It's so great and it means a lot. But we're here talking about one of my favorite franchises of all time. I watched these movies a billion times growing up. I'm so looking forward to re-watching them and talking about them on the channel. Now, if you didn't guess, I am reviewing these films in preparation for Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny, which is directed by none other than the great James Mangold, who hasn't disappointed me yet with a film, so I hope he doesn't disappoint me with a great franchise film like Indiana Jones. James Mangold did such a fantastic job with the 3:10 to Yuma remake, Logan, and Ford v Ferrari, which I have no doubt in my mind that he would upset us with an Indiana Jones film, and the trailer of that film looks incredible. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about the film that started it all, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, Raiders of the Lost Ark, I really don't have any negatives with this film. I think it's very, very well written, well directed. Every sequence of this film is so entertaining and just puts your ass in the seat for the 2-hour runtime of the film. The character Indiana Jones is so good. This is the film though that I feel like Indiana Jones to me doesn't really feel like the star of the show. I feel like the adventure is more of the star of the show. It's the kind of the same with Temple of Doom, but Last Crusade is the one where we understand Indy more as a character. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is such a great adventure film and one of the best adventure films of all time. Now, Harrison Ford is great in the film. Now, the opening scene is so iconic. From start to finish, this movie's iconic, but the opening scene sets up the film in a terrific way. For the rest of the film, you're just getting this sense of adventure is just unbelievably so much fun. I can understand why this turned into a franchise. The character Indiana Jones is so well written. He has so many layers to that character. He almost feels like a superhero in certain scenes. Like you have him who's this college professor teaching archaeology, then you have him go out on these adventures, and it's like, it's a terrific idea and it's executed so well. My favorite scene in the entire film though is towards the beginning of the film after the opening, where they go to Cairo and there's all this trouble that happens in Cairo, and John Rhys Davies in that scene is awesome, and he's back in the new one, which I'm so excited about. It's definitely one of my favorite films of all time. Another thing that isn't really talked about a lot with these films, but just the set design as well is so good. I mean, that's really part of George Lucas's productions, is the set designing. I mean, you look at Star Wars and you look at Indiana Jones, they both have great set designs that make you feel there and makes the scene feel so realistic. Even if it's a sci-fi action film like Star Wars, the sets feel so real and lived in that George Lucas just does a fantastic job, and his production team does a fantastic job at making you live in these sequences. The ending of this film is so iconic as well, with the opening of the Ark of the Covenant and the ghosts coming out and everybody melting. Like, as a kid, it scared the shit out of me, but I used to love it because I used to like kind of being scared as a kid. I always used to like when a movie does something that scares me because it intrigued me a lot more as a kid, which is why I think the sequence in Temple of Doom used to scare me as a kid, but I used to be so intrigued about it, the scene with the heartbeat. But I'll talk about that more next week when I cover that film. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the most iconic films of all time, but for a good reason, because it's such a creative idea, it's such a creative film, it's so much fun. And even though that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull isn't a great film, I just love the Indiana Jones franchise so much. I still don't really care that Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a bad film, because it's still so fun and it still gives you the same kind of enjoyment as an Indiana Jones film. But again, we'll cover that later. But Raiders of the Lost Ark pushes the M or PG-13 rating to another level as well. There's so much violence, especially the scene where he punches that guy and then he like stumbles back into the propeller of a plane and blood just squirts everywhere. I know that scene could have been way more violent than it is and we could have seen it, but I think what we got with the blood splatting onto the plane, like that's still like very violent. And also like at the start when the character leaves Indy behind in the cave, and then when Indy turns around the corner and there's like spikes sticking out of his head, like all that stuff is so like graphic graphic and gruesome for like a PG-13 film, but it's so great. It's so enjoyable to see that, and it gives you more of a threat to think about when you're watching the film. The movie has Steven Spielberg's charm written all over it. It's so well written, well edited, the action sequences are great. It's a phenomenal film, and I'm gonna have to give Raiders of the Lost Ark a 10 out of 10. I can't give this film any more praise. I think just how influential it is, how well written and well directed it is. You can't do anything but admire just the filmmaking behind the film. The behind the scenes of this film is so interesting as well. Definitely check that out. If you're a big fan of the Indiana Jones, you've probably already seen it, but if you haven't, definitely check it out, especially if you want to become a filmmaker, because Steven Spielberg's kind of philosophy on filmmaking is great, and you should go and listen to a lot of the stuff that he has to say. Definitely my favorite Spielberg film. It's also my favorite Indiana Jones film. When I was a kid, it was Temple of Doom, but now looking back at the franchise, this is the perfect film in the franchise. Such an entertaining, fun, and just very well made film. Anyway guys, that's my review on Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. So stay tuned, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.